Hyperion and Baddanie's quest. Our story begins with a group of adventurers living in the medieval kingdom of Hyperion. The kingdom is filled with small villages and thatched cottages, and has been relatively peaceful until now. The adventurers are on a quest to find the magical staff of Zelos. They walk through the forest and notice a band of mountain dwarves. The dwarves are friendly and offer them food and drink. Then one of the dwarves turns to them and says, "Leave us, for your mockery cannot be forgiven." Now the adventurers must travel even deeper into the forest and decide whether to obey the dwarves or press on. "I'm sorry, Baddanie, but it appears these dwarves are unwilling to help us. We must venture on without their help," Hyperion says. After their refusal of help, the adventurers are immediately ambushed by dwarves who are hiding in the forest. The dwarf chieftain is named Dosul, and he laughs before the battle begins. "Well, how do you like the hospitality of our village?" The dwarf slowly approaches the two travelers. Hyperion takes out his staff and points it at the dwarves. "Stand back, dwarves. If you do not stand back, I will have to obliterate you with this staff." "Oh, hush, you fool. You do not even have the power to touch us," a dwarf says. "Hyperion, you do not even have the power to kill us," a dwarf says. "Get them, Baddanie." The dwarves laugh again, but to the adventurers' surprise, it is a hearty laugh, not the menacing one Baddanie or the others would expect. "Nope, sorry to say, but you are all going to die." The dwarves all draw their weapons and charge the adventurers. In the meantime, the orc Baddanie and the wizard Hyperion have not moved and are slowly backing away. "I don't have forgiveness for people who attack me and my slave," Hyperion says. He runs up to a dwarves and jabs his staff into a dwarf. This causes the dwarf to explode, causing shards of bones to shoot out at the other dwarves. The dwarves cry out in pain and anger and run away. "Ha ha, you will not defeat us," a small, frail dwarf says. Baddanie swings his hammer at the dwarf's head, crushing his skull and throwing it into the wall. "Yeah, lots and lots." "Yuck! So many?" the dwarf daddy says. Hyperion looks at Baddanie, punches daddy in the side of his head. "How many? Lots and lots. Can you name any? Name any slain?" The dwarf rubs his head and thinks. "Werner! Yes, Werner! Killed in Aruk! Killed several of our clans!" "So you lied to us," Hyperion says. "You have killed others." Hyperion points his staff at Daddy's head and charges it. The head explodes into many pieces and they are left stunned and confused. The same happens to most of dwarves when they find out their king is a coward. "Wake your companions. We press on," the orc Baddanie orders. Baddanie presses the dwarf. "Tell us what you know about the staff of Zelos. We do not seek it for glory, but to protect Hyperion's home." The dwarf accepts defeat and speaks. "Zelos is a strange staff, not from our world. It holds great power, but we have never heard of it before. It is said that it has the power to summon the greatest orc warriors in history. Please, Sir Dwarf, we must know where the staff is. If we do not find it, my home of Sacramentian will be destroyed," Hyperion pleads. "You can search the entire forest for the staff, but you shall not harm any innocent creatures in your path," the dwarf laughs slightly. "What the fuck did you just fucking say about me, you little bitch? I'll have you know I graduated top of my class in the Navy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids on Al-Qaeda, and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I am trained in guerrilla warfare, and I'm the top sniper in the entire U.S. Armed Forces. You are nothing to me but just another target. I will wipe you the fuck out with precision, the likes of which has never been seen before on this earth, mark my fucking words. You think you can get away with saying that shit to me over the internet? Think again, fucker. As we speak, I am contacting my secret network of spies across the USA, and your IP is being traced right now, so you better prepare for the storm, maggot. The storm that wipes out the pathetic little thing you call your life. You're fucking dead, kid. I can be anywhere, anytime, and I can kill you in over 700 ways, and that's just with my bare hands. Not only am I extensively trained in unarmed combat, but I have access to the entire arsenal of the United States Marine Corps, and I will use it to its full extent to wipe your miserable ass off the face of the continent, you little shit. If only you could have known what unholy retribution your little clever comment was about to bring down upon you. Maybe you would have held your fucking tongue. But you couldn't. You didn't. And now you're paying the price, you goddamn idiot. I will shit fury all over you and you will drown in it. You're fucking dead, kiddo, Hyperion says. Baddanie laughs slightly. Didn't I tell you? This earth is a cruel place. The weaker creatures die off and the strongest survive. There is no honor among the savages. Bravo. That was a great performance, especially considering the circumstances. I am impressed. The dwarf accepts his praise and says, Thank you, sir. The dwarf replies, However, you forget that I know your secret. Baddanie looks like he is thinking about how to reply to that confession, but decides to remain silent. What secret might you be speaking of? Hyperion inquires, curious as to what the dwarf could possibly have on either of them. Your relationship with Hyperion himself. Yes, I have seen your nightly sessions of intimacy. Baddanie seems incredibly embarrassed and shrugs it off as a normal relationship. Hyperion became filled with guilt and rage. He understands that it is beneath him to engage intimately with an orc. He yells under his red cap to his servant, Let's go, Baddanie! Baddanie springs forward into action and kills the dwarf. Baddanie is sad, because he knows that the dwarf had so much more to say. He doesn't have the strength to beat Hyperion and knows that he'll be killed if he fights him, but he still has a duty to his tribe to protect them. Baddanie, you slave, I command you to attack the rest of these dwarves, Hyperion commands. Baddanie, the poor slave that he is, attacks the dwarves, ripping them apart with deft brute strength. He cuts down the dwarves left and right until only Hyperion remains standing with his giant axe. I am not sure you have the will to fight me to the end, Hyperion says. This is true. Baddanie understands that his has no power under this dynamic, but his goals are Hyperion's. The staff of Zalos is within reach, but is this the way to our purpose? If it is, then he has the will. Hyperion and Baddanie travel on down the path. According to the dwarves' map that Baddanie had stolen off, a body says that the staff of Zalos is 50 miles away. There are 12 dwarves left on the path, and Baddanie is still all by himself. Hyperion leads the orc through the forest on a path without worry. He's not worried because, as aforementioned, he has total strategic dominance over Baddanie. Man, I love that you're my slave, Baddanie. I also love that you let me fuck you, Hyperion says to Baddanie as they trek on the path. Baddanie agrees completely and then asks, What if I tried to kill you now? Would you even fight for me? Hyperion laughs a little for a sec and says, Oh yes, I would, but I would not be forced to. Baddanie understands the wizard's complex mind and nods in acknowledgement. They continue on the path through the forest. At the far side of the forest near the river, they reach a small camp. They approach the camp as Hyperion whips Baddanie. Baddanie accepts it since he's nothing but a slave and understands that it isn't worth putting up a fight. They enter the camp and see that there are 2 armed dwarves, each with an arquebus. Baddanie raises his hands up and surrenders. He hasn't the strength to fight with Hyperion. Baddanie says, Master, are we doomed? No, Baddanie, we aren't doomed. Everything will be just fine. Hyperion calms Baddanie's fears. Hyperion says, Dwarves, tell me where the staff of Zalos is, or I'll rip your spines out. The dwarves turn to Hyperion and say, Please, Hyperion, we both know that if we can find the staff of Zalos, the world will be ours. Please admit it, we both want to rule the world. The dwarves smile evilly and hold steady. Hyperion grabbed the dwarf by the throat. Do not assume I have selfish intent, imp, Hyperion says as he destroys the dwarf's throat. I want the world to prosper with what I can offer. I desire peace, and I don't particularly care to assume that power by force. Look at me. I am not even armed, nor do I feel the need to be. All I want is peace, and you wretched fool, you are holding my destiny in your hands. The dwarves look at Hyperion, confused. What? The dwarves look confused. What? The dwarves looked confused again. What? The dwarves looked confused. The dwarves were really confused now. Baddanie looks towards Hyperion and says, Master, I believe the dwarves are confused. Hyperion says, Yes, I destroyed the other dwarf. Now bring me the staff of Zalos, and I will ensure your prosperity and the world's. Baddanie looks at Hyperion and says, Master, do you really think you can trust the dwarves? Hyperion says, No, not really, but it is the only chance we have at averting the prophecy. We need the staff of Zalos. Baddanie says, "I agree, master," and begins to walk towards the dwarves, which are still confused. "Wait!" the dwarves scream. "We're sorry, we made a mistake. We'll take you where the staff is." "Take us now, imps, or I shall be forced to destroy you with my bare hands," Hyperion says. The dwarves submissively agree now. They lead Hyperion and Baddanie deeper into the woods. Finally, they reach the end of the forest, and they see a huge building with hundreds of dwarves working. The building seems out of place in this untamed forest. The dwarves look at Hyperion and begin to tear up. One dwarf speaks up and says, "We have surviving of the staff's power. It is our only source of energy. Our homes require the staff. Some of our youngest dwarves depend on this energy because of its life-giving properties. Is this really our only option?" The dwarf pauses and looks at Baddanie. The dwarf says, "I have 3 cubs and they rely on this staff. I don't want to lose them to this prophecy." Hyperion speaks to Baddanie. "Fuck these dwarves. They deserve to die for our people. Right, Baddanie?" Baddanie looks angrily at Hyperion. "No, Hyperion. They don't deserve to die, and I will not help you kill them. They are innocent." Hyperion looks annoyed, but continues anyway. "Fine then. We will just have to kill them all, which is fine, since I would prefer to avoid it. After we kill them, we can go get the staff and get on with our destiny." The dwarves are silent. Baddanie whispers, "What about the greater good? When we laid together, you promised we'd do everything to protect those in need," Baddanie reminds him. Hyperion lashes back. "You don't ever get to bring up that we fuck. Got it, lowly orc?" Hyperion whips the orc several times for good measure. "The greater good is protecting my tribe. What's so good about these pussy dwarves anyway?" As the lashes strike Baddanie, his fists begin to clench. "I can't let you kill these dwarves, master. I will do anything for your good, but I will not let you kill this whole town. We have shed enough blood. You think you can tell me no? I'll fuck you up worse than before. Try me, orc. Go and get the staff, you weak fool. I'll give you a head start since you're the one who wants to help the helpless. Then I'll come after you with my full fury." I don't think I will," Baddanie argues back. Hyperion's eyes are filled with rage. How could his slave and lover deny him? He's never denied him anything, even his purity. In a fit of anger, Hyperion aims his staff at Baddanie and fires off a fireball. It hits the orc right in the chest, leaving severe burns, but the orc endures. "Please, master, I don't want to fight you," Baddanie cries. "Fuck you," Hyperion yells. He fires another bolt, stronger than before. Baddanie jumps out of the way, but he's not fast enough, and the fireball mangles his right arm. He screams in pain. He looks at what else the fireball hit. It hit several dwarves and landed on a dwarven child daycare center. "You monster!" Baddanie cries. "I'll kill you, you bastard!" Baddanie yells. He lunges at Hyperion. "I don't think you will." Hyperion jumps into the air and fires a beam of negative energy at Baddanie. He hits him in the chest and he screams, "Ah!" He falls on his knees, then falls over. The dwarves look on in horror, powerless at what they are seeing. "What the fuck are you all looking at?" Hyperion towers over Baddanie, ready to unleash a fatal death beam. Before he has a chance, the city surrounding them suddenly becomes dark. Baddanie shuffles away in the confusion. A dwarf can be heard shouting, "We have hidden the staff of Zalos to protect it from all forms of evil. If our city falls in the process, then so be it. The prophecies surrounding Sacramention will be fulfilled." "What? What the hell are you talking about?" The dwarves are silent, not even daring to breathe. "We are dying so that this prophecy can live on. I will not let my home be destroyed. The red mist shall not fall upon my Sacramention as it has many other regions before it. That staff is the only thing that is known to redirect the red mist. If you think little fucks like you will stop me, you're sadly mistaken." Hyperion shoots a beam from his staff, obliterating the legs of the dwarf in front of him. "Where did you hide that staff, bitch?" Hyperion demands to the legless dwarf. I'll never tell you," the dwarf weakly says. "Ah, pity," Hyperion says as he drops the dwarf to the ground. The dwarf lets out a yelp of pain before Hyperion crushes his skull with the heel of his boot. The dwarves all scatter. Baddanie weakly stands up and faces Hyperion. Please, master, please stop this madness!" Hyperion smacks him with his staff hard enough to knock out all of his teeth. Maybe that'll shut you up. You harming me accomplishes nothing, Baddanie whimpers. Hyperion answers, I was hoping it would accomplish the goal of you shutting the fuck up. Please, master, please stop this madness. I've accepted my fate due to me, but please, you must stop this madness. The dwarves may still let us share the staff. I care not for the dwarves. I care not for anything. I will not fail. I will fulfill the prophecy. I will not let the red mist fall upon my home. I will make sure my legacy will be remembered. Help me, Baddanie, or you'll be remembered as a traitor, worse than these dwarves. I miss our nights under the Sacramentian sky, Hyperion. Don't say that, Hyperion says sadly. It hurts his heart to hear his lover-slave say such a thing. Baddanie takes a step towards him. Please, master, help me, I beg of you. Baddanie, you know I can't. I need to do this. Scaramentian needs it. Your home too. Please, Baddanie, stop being such a fool and help me genocide these dwarves. I need you, Hyperion says, tears rolling down his cheeks. I'm sorry, Hyperion, I can't. I won't let you go down this path. You mean too much to me. Let's go home. We'll find another way. Together, Baddanie tells Hyperion, putting his hand on his cheek. He wipes the tears from his lover. Baddanie embraces Hyperion, and the two kiss. I love you, Baddanie says. I love you too, Hyperion answers. He holds Baddanie in his arms. Which makes it so much harder that I have to do this, Hyperion says sadly. Do what? Baddanie asks. Immediately he feels something plunge into his stomach. Hyperion, he says weakly. I'm sorry, Hyperion says. He plunges his staff deeper into Baddanie's stomach till Baddanie blows up into 1,000,000 pieces. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, he repeats. You're home now. He wipes the remaining tears from his eyes and begins his walk towards red largest building in the lightless city. As he presses forward, he notices that there is something hanging onto his shoe. He examines it and recognizes it as a piece of Baddanie's cheekskin. He places it in his pocket for good luck. I'll see you in the next life, Baddanie, he says to the empty street. He then begins to hear sounds of fighting in the distance. He readies his staff to devour whoever may come his way. A small child walks up to him and innocently holds his hand. I lost my parents in the confusion, mister. Hyperion wastes no time and holds the boy by the neck. He now has a child hostage for leverage. Hyperion has nothing in this world holding him back now. He holds the boy into the air by the neck. Come out now or this putrid little fuck dies! Hyperion yells. He feels more unhinged than ever before, having lost his favorite pet. He needs to share the pain with others. Suddenly a group of dwarves holding torches approach. I surrender! I surrender! Please don't kill him! One says. Too late, Hyperion says. It's revealed the boy was dead the moment he lifted him in the air by the neck. He throws the corpse at the group of dwarves. Run! One of the dwarves yells. The remaining dwarves look at each other in panic. They're not used to being in a fight and they're tired. Where's the fucking staff of Zalos? Hyperion screams out again. A small voice speaks up. It's a girl. It's on the west side of the city. It's in the worship cave of Kanara, our dwarven goddess. Please just go there and take it. Please just stop hurting my people. You want me to stop hurting your people? Too fucking late. He stabs the girl. He begins running west to find this cave. He's so consumed with rage he doesn't notice the shadows following him closely behind. He arrives at the cave of Kanara. There is a community of dwarves there who keep torches lit at all times to commemorate the energy this center once brought. The dwarves have lost many battles over the years, and now the staff is the only force left lights the city. He sees a group of dwarves gathered in a corner talking. I surrender, please don't hurt me, I will lead you to the staff, one says. Before the dwarf has a chance to guide Hyperion, a light beam devours the dwarf, sending skull fragments in every direction. Fuck! Hyperion shouts. I didn't fucking listen before shooting! The deranged Hyperion starts trying to put the fragments of the dwarf's skull together, in hopes of getting the answer out of him. After several minutes, he decides to get the information out of the other dwarves. I know where the staff is, one of the dwarves says. Tell me, Hyperion demands. We have to go through the underground passage. You don't have to do anything, Hyperion says. I'll go myself. He blows up the dwarf and heads to the passage himself. As he's walking down the passage, he hears something, almost like footsteps, but not. He turns around, and nothing is there. Shit, I think I'm going crazy, Hyperion chuckles to himself. He continues walking down the passage. Suddenly, something grabs his ankle. He kicks, trying to get free, but it won't let go. He twists and turns to get out until he gets a knife in his ankle. Hyperion falls and grasps at his ankle. He hears a voice in the distance whimpering and crawls towards where he hears it. Don't ruin your legacy, master, the voice says in a low murmur. Oh fuck, this shit is fucking bananas, Hyperion says. He looks around and spots the source of the voice. It's a tiny little dwarf in the corner of the cave. You! Hyperion says. I'm so sorry, sir, the dwarf says. I thought I could imitate your lover-slave and convince you to leave us alone. We found the staff after our precious Kanara was defeated in battle and her skull went in every direction. I understand you. We are also just trying to survive. I'm nothing like you, Hyperion yells. First off, I'm not a filthy dwarf. The dwarf tries not to react to the racist comment. Second, I'm still alive, Hyperion says. What? The dwarf says. Hyperion kicks him down the flight of stairs. The dwarf lays at the bottom, broken and unable to move. Hyperion jumps from the stairs and lands directly onto the dwarf, causing his body to turn to mush. See? Hyperion says. I'm alive! You're dead! That's how life is! Hyperion walks further into the cave when he stops. He feels an energy unlike anything he's ever felt. I must be near it! I can feel it! The energy of Boethiaka is emanating through that crevice. He gets onto his knees and crawls through the cave. He stops and listens. He hears the energy. The staff is inside. There's a small and deep passageway that he needs to go through to enter this holy of holies. Hyperion makes his slow descent. As he goes through the tunnel, he finds a staircase carved into the rock. The steps are small and designed for dwarves. His large frame leaves cracks on every step. He laughs. Fuck the red mist! Nothing is going to stop me now. As he gets close to the small passageway, the energy gets stronger and stronger. It's getting stronger, I can feel it, Hyperion says. He arrives at the small passageway, and he sees a door with a strange symbol on it. He leans in close to read it. The symbol is simple, 2 overlapping circles with a line through them, and the words, "With great power comes great responsibility." Hyperion laughs again. He reaches his hand toward the door and pushes it open. A blast of red light bursts through the door, knocking Hyperion to the ground. He gets up and readies his sword to fight. He sees a strange being sitting on a throne.
Who dares enter my throne?
The voice booms. It's so loud it overwhelms all of Hyperion's senses. My name is Hyperion. I've come for the staff of Zalos, he says weakly.
And what do you plan to use my staff for, little man?
The voice says. The volume of the voice is causing Hyperion's ears and nose to bleed. He wipes the blood from his face. I need it to save my home. Sacramention is going to die by the red mist. I need to stop it at all costs, Hyperion yells.
You fool. Red mist can't be destroyed. You were fed a lie. Your home is dead.
F. Fuck you! Hyperion screams. He lifts his staff and fires into the darkness. Nothing happens.
You dare?
The voice yells. I dared! Hyperion yells back. And I will dare again! Please! I need to save my people! Please! A towering figure steps out from the shadows. The being wears a mask of black bones with a gaping hole for his mouth. He wears armor made from the skins of countless humans and dwarves. His armor is pieced together by the skull fragments of millions of fallen dwarves. The voice booms once more.
No man can overturn a prophecy. Your city was meant to be consumed. You are not fit to live any longer.
I can't let go. I don't believe you, Hyperion says. The being laughs. He places the staff at Hyperion's feet.
Hold the staff, small being.
Hyperion shouts, Fuck yeah! But his hands seize up as they make contact with the staff. He lets out a roar and grasps the staff as hard as he can. He feels the energy build up in his body. He feels himself transported into the other realm. Hyperion is disoriented as he lays on the floor. He weakly gets up and realizes that he's not on the ground at all, but floating in the sky. He sees that he's no longer in the cave, but in front of a giant red hurricane. Is that? Hyperion says.
What you see before you is the red mist.
The voice echoes through from the heavens. By the gods! Please! You see what I'm up against! I need to stop this before it destroys my home! Please! Hyperion cries.
Foolish mortal. Don't you understand what you're looking at? This is your home. You are too late.
The voice tells him. Hyperion is frozen. Anguish shoots through his body, bringing him to his knees. No, it's not true! No, you're lying! You're wrong! He cries.
The Sacramentian Republic is done. You are now king of the Sacramentian Empire. Enjoy your crown of ashes.
Hyperion begins to cry uncontrollably. As the tears flow from his eyes, Hyperion shouts at the voice. Kill me already! Take me away from this god-forsaken reality. Let me be at peace. Let me go home. He reaches for shred of Baddanie's skin, but it is no longer with him. It was lost in the mist. The voice of Zalos booms once more.
Fool, you do not deserve rest. For your hubris, you will live to see suffering. You will become suffering.
Hyperion watches in terror as his hands and legs morph to become one with the red mist. He must watch for eternity as his own body destroys what was once his home. After 100 years or so, the red mist begins to fade. Hyperion begins to cry once more. He cries for the city he can no longer save and for the suffering he is about to endure. As the red mist fades, so does Hyperion and all of his glory. He is no longer a force of nature, but just another dead soul in the vast expanse of eternity. End. You awake in the comfort of your own bed. That dream was fucked up,